Breaking news now at 5, a massive explosion in Iberia Parish at an oil field services company that sends a huge plume of smoke into the air that's visible for miles. Good evening, everyone. That explosion first reported today at around 3:30, again at an oil field services company in New Iberia. That company is called Multichem, and it's located in the 3400 block of Admiral Doyle Drive, and witnesses are reporting multiple explosions there and, of course, plenty of smoke in the area. And again, this is at the 3400 block of Admiral Doyle Drive, and we've just gotten word a few moments ago that officials are asking everyone in a 5-mile radius of that explosion to evacuate. They're calling for mandatory evacuations in that area, those evacuations in much of New Iberia. And if you can see that plume of smoke, you're asked to stay inside if you're outside of that 5-mile radius until officials figure out exactly what chemicals are burning. We do have a crew there at the scene. Let's go to KTC's Maddie Garrett in New Iberia with the latest. Maddie.
New Iberia, just a few miles away from that plant explosion that you can see behind me. It's critical to stay a good distance back from this fire because hazmat state police are still trying to determine exactly what chemicals are actually burning. The fire is still burning right now. There are still explosions. Even on the way over here, we saw several fireballs coming from this explosion, and no information on any injuries right now or conditions of anybody that was there on the scene. And to have more information, we're joined by State Trooper Stephen Hammonds. So Stephen, what else can you tell us about this ongoing scene?
Maddie, right now we're dealing with a very fluid situation. We do have 1-mile radius that has been evacuated. We are currently unaware of any injuries or fatalities that may have resulted from this explosion. We do currently have several state police hazmat crews as well as Lafayette Fire Department on scene, as well as several crews from the Iberia Parish area, working to determine exactly what we're dealing with to find out exactly if we need to make this area any larger. We are actively doing that at this time, and we want to just ask anyone to please just stay out of the area. Be patient with us. We do understand that this is an inconvenience. We're going to do everything we can to make this area as safe as possible.
And one more thing, what's a major concern right now? I mean, clearly there's a lot of smoke in the air. There could be chemicals. What are y'all mainly worried about?
Our main concern right now is the wind direction. What we're trying to pay attention to is which way is the wind blowing. That way we can make a determination as to which areas we may have to further evacuate. But we do have enough personnel currently on hand to get the information out there to make sure that we can get people out of their homes in the event we need to.
Okay, thank you so much, Trooper. And we're going to be out here continuing to cover this. The fire is still going. They are working to get it under control right now. We'll bring you more information on the web and later on at 6 o'clock. Reporting live in New Iberia, I'm Maddie Garrett for KTC TV3.
And a look at the map, the explosion is in the 3400 block of Admiral Doyle Drive. And as you heard Trooper Stephen Hammonds say there, the evacuation radius is a 1-mile radius, not a 5-mile radius that was first reported. Again, a 1-mile evacuation radius in the 3400 block of Admiral Doyle. These are tonight letting the fire burn itself out, and the investigation into exactly what happened is just beginning. Let's go to the scene now. KTC's Maddie Garrett has been covering the story from the get-go, and Maddie, word tonight from the company that owns the plant.
That's right, Jim. We just spoke to a Multichem representative about half an hour ago. Multichem also confirming that there were no serious injuries in this incident, saying that all employees actually evacuated very quickly and followed safety procedures. But Multichem is still investigating what exactly caused this explosion here today, saying that this was a storage facility where the incident happened and that there's a variety of chemicals that come and go every day there. So they couldn't even speculate on what those chemicals were that were burning today, and they're going to have to wait till the fires die down. State police said just minutes ago the fires are still burning at that plant tonight. They'll have to wait till everything dies down and go in tomorrow to find out just what happened. Around 3:30 Tuesday afternoon, something exploded inside the Multichem plant, sending up huge fireballs and billows of smoke.
Big fireballs coming out that thick smoke. It was scary.
I could see the smoke constantly, and it just kept getting darker and darker.
The plant processes chemicals used in the oil field, but state police still haven't determined what chemicals were burning in this fire.
It's very scary because we don't know what chemicals were involved in the explosion yet.
We're asking people if they're downwind of the smoke to shelter in place, meaning turn off your air conditioner, close your windows, close your doors, bring your pets inside. If you feel like you've been contaminated, we're asking you to take a shower.
Nearby businesses were evacuated, including the UL Primate Research Center, which houses 7,000 primates and employs roughly 200 people. All personnel got out, and they believe all animals are safe.
Once the area is deemed safe, there are employees that are on standby that will take care of the care and the nurturing of the primates.
And while police did decide to let the fire burn down at the plant, there is good news to be found here. Miraculously, no workers were reported injured from this massive explosion.
All employees at all businesses affected have been accounted for.
Now, there were rumors floating around earlier today that 4 people were treated for burn injuries from this incident, but Acadian Ambulance and the Iberia Medical Center say that those are not confirmed and that they have no knowledge of those injuries at all. So still not officially any reported injuries. And you can see right here, Admiral Doyle is still blocked off. That's because that 1-mile mandatory evacuation still going to be in effect through the night and at least until tomorrow morning till they can reassess the situation. 3's on the street tonight reporting live in New Iberia. I'm Maddie Garrett for KATC TV3.
Yesterday's explosion also raising concerns from doctors and chemists.
Some of those chemicals involved in the explosion could cause side effects for people nearby. 3's on the street tonight. Sean Klein tells us about these health concerns.
Yeah, I'm just going to list off a few of the chemicals used at this plant. Xylene, toluene, methanol, all highly flammable chemicals, and already we're hearing some health complaints from nearby residents.
It's scary to think, what could be in that smoke?
You know, it's unusual. I mean, I wasn't feeling the same after I left.
Statements like that are common in New Iberia now after this explosion rocked some nearby homes. Louisiana's Department of Environmental Quality says air measurements in the area are at safe levels, but experts say there are some risks.
If you were around this fire yesterday, for instance, and breathed in some of the smoke and fumes, you'd probably have some symptoms.
Dr. Gary Guidry is a pulmonologist at Lafayette General. In short, he studies lungs. He says if chemicals like xylene and methanol are airborne, it won't take much to start seeing side effects.
Headache, nausea, vomiting. They can have CNS depression. For some toluene, they can go into pulmonary edema, which is fluid building up in the lungs.
And the list of possible problems doesn't just stop with people. Chemist Wilma Subra says the affected area also includes local farms and food supplies.
Any of the hydrocarbons that are real stable or any of the heavy metals that might be in those chemicals can be deposited in the soil and last for a very, very long time.
Now, doctors say if you do experience any unusual symptoms, pay a visit to your physician, because if these symptoms go untreated, there could be more long-term issues. 3's on the street tonight in New Iberia. Sean Klein, KATC TV3.
A line of cars in New Iberia this morning as those evacuated because of the explosion were allowed back into their homes. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Hummel. Hoyt and Marcel are enjoying some time off. That 1-mile evacuation order in New Iberia is lifted, and we'll have more from the evacuees who returned home today coming up in just a little bit. But first up, we begin with the latest on the investigation into what caused the New Iberia explosion, and we have team coverage on that tonight. Sean Klein starts us off tonight near the scene. Sean.
This is the closest we've been able to get to Multichem since the explosion happened, and I want you to take a look at the cars behind me. This is the first images we can get from the ground at just how big and massive this explosion was. The cars are completely charred, and I know you guys don't have any smell-o-vision at home, but I'll tell you, it reeks of all kinds of chemicals here, and not until now have we been able to see this magnitude. Even behind the cars, you can see just how charred the building and the plant is behind it. The windows completely broken out, and it's really amazing that there are no injuries involved with this explosion. And now cleanup crews are making it in just today. People are moving back in who were evacuated for the last 2 days, and also the roads are finally back open, first time in 2 days, except for parts of Admiral Doyle, which is where we are right now. And we're going to be talking with the VP of Multichem later on, coming up at 6, and we'll have some words from him on what happens next after this explosion 2 days later. In New Iberia, Sean Klein, KATC TV3.
Thank you, Sean. And while the evacuation area mostly affected businesses, there are also 68 homes in that area, and all of those residents are now being allowed back into their homes. And KTC's Janice Fernandez was with them today as they returned.
It's nice. It's not been too bad. 2 days, you know, could have been worse.
Dozens who live or work within the evacuated area lined up at Sugarina, ready to get clearance and get back to their daily routines. Tom Landry is thankful no one was injured during the explosion. Although he left behind the comforts of home, he knew it was better to be away than close to harm's way.
They had a great evacuation plan. They were prepared, and I think my hat goes off to them. And you know, I think this thing's been run very well.
People had to leave in such a hurry, grabbing what they could. Gus Katsolis is eager to make sure plants in his nursery are okay.
It's our main concern because we're not there to water. It's been kind of a little rough on our plants, I'm sure.
Others are ready to get back to work.
Just to get back and make sure our school's okay. We work at the Acadiana Technical College, and we just want to check it out to see if we'll be able to have class for our students.
Well, if I don't get back to work, I don't make any money.
State police and Iberia Sheriff's Office escorted people to their homes. Once there, they checked the air quality, making sure it's safe to stay.
If we went into any houses and found that the air quality wasn't good, we actually brought crews in to do what we needed to do in order to make that house safe so that they could safely enter their home.
In New Iberia, Janice Fernandez, KATC, TV3.
And as that investigation moves forward, there is a sense of relief in the community. Air quality samples have so far come back safe, no injuries were reported, and it seems to be business as usual at the nearby UL Lafayette New Iberia Research Center, which is home to more than 6,000 primates. Mike Magnoli joins us now with an inside look at that facility. Mike.
These monkeys are just a few football fields away from the site of this week's explosion, and there was a lot of concern about their health. Officials here at the center tell us that they're going to be okay, that there's no need to move them or to do further testing. Luckily, they're in the clear.
Today we are reporting that there are no short-term adverse effects identified within the animal population as a direct result of the incident or indirectly due to the evacuation procedures implemented. There's really no reason to test. I mean, any time that you go in and disrupt these family groups, that's stressful. So going in after this event and electively going in for no apparent reason, I mean, there's no signs of ill health, going in there and to start to capture up animals, to sedate them, to obtain blood samples, that in itself would be added stress.
And coming up tonight at 6, an eyewitness account from the director of the center here and one of the doctors who was on site. They'll describe the moments after the explosion. In New Iberia, Mike Magnoli, KATC, TV3.
Questions still remain as to what chemicals might have been burning on Tuesday and if they pose any danger to those in the area. Now, officials have been monitoring air quality, and so far all testing has come back okay. But as KATC's Herbie Smith reports, that testing will continue for some time.
These take a reading every 15 seconds. We've had a number of units out since the evening of the fire.
Dr. John Kind with the Center for Toxicology and Environmental Health says they've been using these two types of air monitors to check New Iberia's air quality. Since the day of the Multichem explosion, Kind says these devices have tested the air more than 350,000 times, scanning for harmful chemicals.
We look for the combustion products because that's what has the potential to move off-site. The air quality has been good. We've been monitoring 24/7.
And so far, Kind says they found nothing. Along with air quality, water quality is also a major concern. I'm here at Spanish Lake, which is about 2 miles away from Multichem's plant. Because fumes from the explosion migrated here, toxicologists have been taking water samples from the lake to keep an eye on it and make sure it's not contaminated. Toxicologists use this device called the Manta. It measures the water's pH levels and other water quality parameters.
We've been taking water quality samples every day to send off to a lab for chemical analysis.
So far, so good?
So far, so good.
Until the cleanup is done and everything is back to normal, Kind says they'll continue to monitor air and water around the clock. In New Iberia, I'm Herbie Smith for KATC TV3.
Anyone who thinks they may have a claim or need any information to come down to Ramada, speak to the insurance carrier and get what they need.
Almost a week after the explosion in New Iberia at Multichem, the company is working to make things right. Good evening, everyone. 18 hours after last Tuesday's explosion, Multichem had representatives on the ground working with those affected by the explosion. But despite that, the company is already facing legal challenges. 3 is on the street tonight. Jim Hummel joining us live from New Iberia with the story. Jim?
That's right, Hoyt. We're coming to you live tonight from outside of the Iberia Parish Courthouse, where already 2 class action lawsuits have been filed against Multichem. In the moments after the Multichem explosion, nearby residents and businesses were evacuated as that dark plume of smoke blanketed the area.
We've been contacted by various business owners in the area and also individuals, business owners that have sustained and experienced business loss and individual clients that have experienced respiratory problems.
New Iberia attorney Eric Hike of Hike, Minville & Grubbs is behind one of the lawsuits against Multichem. Filing on behalf of a nearby business owner, the suit alleges that the company was affected, ceasing any and all business operations because of the explosion, and the business owner himself became ill, suffering headaches, nausea, and disorientation because of the fumes. Hike says Multichem needs to be held accountable.
Serious explosion that's got could have long-lasting effects on the property and in the individuals involved.
As a matter of policy, Multichem representatives cannot comment on pending lawsuits. But it should be noted that the Houston-based company has maintained a presence in the area, even opening a claims facility for those affected.
But they are processing claims as quickly as they can. We've instructed, Multichem instructed the insurance carrier that we want to help out whoever we need to help out as quickly as we possibly can.
And while the company is taking claims, Multichem representatives tell me that the priorities are still the cleanup and the investigation. And by the way, still no word on what caused last week's explosion. 3's on the street tonight, reporting live in New Iberia. Jim Hummel, KTC TV3.